I'm a huge Superman fan. So
Nope, scratch that, reverse it.
Superman is the mentor of all DC heroes. He's the blueprint. He's the OG, right? He's the reason kids tie towels around their necks and jump off the couch like maniacs. So why is it that James Gunn's Superman is already winning people over? While Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, is already looking shaky before a single frame drops? See, she's drunk even. Yet you're funny. It's not because the character's bad. It's not because women can't lead superhero films. It's because Superman works in ways that Supergirl won't, and it's got everything to do with how their stories are built. Sure, let's take a look and bite it, piece by piece.
Shake my fucking hand.
Jeez. Grab your popcorn, grab your Funko Pops nuts, and maybe grab a tissue, because I'm about to roast this like Marvel roasted MODOK's dignity. Number 1, Superman equals hope. Supergirl equals trauma. Superman's story is about hope. He's the kid from Kansas, raised by parents who taught him kindness, humility, and how to throw a baseball without vaporizing it. Clark Kent is basically a farm boy with the heart of gold, who just happens to have godlike powers. That's why Gunn's Superman lands so well. He's a human who happens to be Kryptonian. That's why audiences smile after his movie, because Superman's story is ultimately uplifting. Now look at Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. James Gunn himself said it. Supergirl is a mess.
Supergirl.
That's right.
Is that the version of Supergirl we're going to meet in the next film?
That's her. She's a mess. She's a total mess.
Shows you the kind of film we're going to get based to Gunn himself, watching people she loves die around her. Imagine growing up in a space apocalypse. No Kansas sunsets, no Martha Kent baking pies, just trauma, PTSD, and space corpses. That's her backstory. And while it's faithful to Tom King's comic run, here's the brutal truth. Audiences don't want another dark trauma fest right now. We already had Snyder's edgy take on Superman. We already had serious Batman. And Marvel's drowning in jokes. What's missing is hope. Superman fills that void. Kara? She risked doubling down on darkness. 2. Superman is simple. Supergirl is complicated. Superman works because his story is simple. Alien lands on Earth. Good parents, grows up with human values, becomes a symbol of hope. Done. Straightforward. Everyone gets it. Supergirl? That's already messy. Depending on the comic, she's Kal-El's cousin, sometimes older, sometimes younger, sometimes his protector, sometimes in love triangles, sometimes rebooted every 5 years. In Woman of Tomorrow, she's wandering space like a drifter, bitter about her past, basically John Wick with heat vision. Cool on paper, but in a movie? That's a hard sell. Hey kids, want to watch a blonde space alien deal with unresolved trauma while babysitting a vengeful little girl? Yeah, try putting that on Happy's meal box. 3. The tone matters. James Gunn nailed Superman's tone. He didn't try to make him ironic. He didn't bury him under CGI filters. He just leaned into what makes soups great. Sincerity, optimism, color. But Kara? Her story in Woman of Tomorrow is bleak. Like Dune bleak. Picture 8-year-olds begging their parents to watch Supergirl and then sitting through scenes of alien genocide and Kara drinking herself into a coma on some alien planet. That might work as a comic for older readers, but for a movie meant to carry the DCU? Bro, no one's leaving that theater smiling. They'll leave like they just sat through a season of The Handmaid's Tale in space. 4. Superman is universal. Supergirl is niche. Everybody knows Superman. Your grandma knows Superman. He's Coca-Cola, McDonald's, the Beatles. Universally recognized. Supergirl? She's not on the same level. Fans know her. CW watchers know her. Comic readers know her. But to the average moviegoer, she's female Superman. And that's the problem. If the movie doesn't absolutely crush it, people will just compare her to the real deal. It's like watching Pepsi try to outdo Coke. Even if it's good, people will say, yeah, but it's not Coke. 5. The comics versus the movies. Let's talk comics for a second. Woman of Tomorrow by Tom King is one of the most beautifully written modern DC stories. It's poetic, sad, violent, and stunning. But it's also very much a comic book for adults. Now ask yourself, how often does Hollywood faithfully adapt those kinds of comics? Almost never. Studios water it down. They chop it up. They force in a joke every 5 minutes. Imagine Warner Brothers saying that, okay, Kara watches her people die. She becomes emotionally broken, and she takes on this little girl out for revenge across a brutal alien wasteland. Then some exec says, cool, but can we add a talking space dog for the merch line? And suddenly the whole tone is ruined. 6. Timing is everything. Here's the nail in the coffin. Gunn's Superman is coming at the perfect time. Marvel's slipping. People are tired of quippy heroes. DC desperately needs a win. Superman's hopeful tone feels like a breath of fresh air. But Supergirl, she's coming right after. And the contrast might kill. Because here's the thing. Audiences don't forgive tonal whiplash. You can't sell them a bright, hopeful Superman 1 month and then hand them a space Western trauma opera the next. That's like eating ice cream on a hot day and then being forced to chew kale chips with no water. Nobody asking for that. Superman works because he's comfort food. He's fried chicken, pizza, mac and cheese. You know what you're getting, and it feels good every single time. Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, that's an experimental 5-course alien cuisine where the chef tells you, you won't understand this dish, but it's meant to make you uncomfortable. Bruh, nobody asked for that. And let's not forget, Supergirl isn't even a fresh IP. She's been tested before. The CW show had its highs and lows, but let's be real. By season 4, people were watching out of habit, not hype. Why? Because the character works better as a supporting role, not the headliner. She shines next to Superman. Take him away. And suddenly the light dims. That's not sexism. That's storytelling dynamics. Now in Tom King's comic, Woman of Tomorrow works beautifully because comics allow for experimentation. The art style, the inner monologues, the slow pacing, you can sit with Kara's trauma while sipping coffee at 2 a.m. But movies? Movies demand pacing, spectacle, something that makes you lean forward in your seat. Watching Kara cry into alien moonshine for half a reel ain't gonna cut it. And Gunn knows this. Different doesn't always mean good. Sometimes different means box office bomb with 38% on Rotten Tomatoes. Now let's talk about marketing. Warner Brothers is going to cut trailers that make this thing look like Guardians of the Galaxy in space with Kara, flying through neon planets and blasting aliens. But when audiences walk in and realize it's actually Logan with pigtails and trauma, they're going to riot. Kids will cry. Parents will demand refunds, and comic fans will be screaming, "That's not my Kara," on Twitter within 24 hours. And don't get it twisted. I'm not saying the comic is bad. Woman of Tomorrow is a masterpiece for readers, but adaptations need to translate tone, not just plot. Imagine adapting Watchmen into a Saturday morning cartoon. Superman's success will make the comparison unavoidable. Every review headline will be like, "Why Superman works and Supergirl doesn't." You think I'm exaggerating? Screenshot this moment. Variety will literally run that piece. And that's the tragedy. Supergirl could have worked if they introduced her after Superman was established as his counterpoint, not his competitor. Let Superman set the hopeful tone, then bring in Kara to show the cost of losing hope. Instead, Gunn's rushing it, and it's gonna backfire harder than Morbius memes. Here's my prediction. Superman, $1 billion box office, audience score above 85%. DC fans calling it the rebirth of the franchise. Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, if it even cracks $600 million, it'll be a miracle, and critics will be split, some praising its ambition, most calling it too bleak for mainstream. And what happens then? WB execs panic. They start rewriting future movies. They start meddling again, and suddenly Gunn's carefully built DCU is wobbling before it even stands. That's the risk of putting Kara in this slot. Now, let's add some receipts. Comics history is full of these examples. When DC leans into Superman's optimism, gold, All-Star Superman, classic, Superman for all seasons, beloved. When they lean into darkness for Superman, injustice sells, but fans don't want that as the default. With Kara, it's the opposite. Her best stories are usually the heavy ones. Crisis on Infinite Earths, Supergirl being super, Woman of Tomorrow. They're emotional gut punches. That's great for comics, but mainstream audiences don't go to theaters for gut punches. They go for hope.